All right, how you doing? This is Chris with Chris's Comments. First, I want to apologize for all the shaking that you're about to experience because I am driving while filming right now. I'm not working today. I'm taking the day off. There's just too much storm water damage that's going on. What I wanted to talk about was that yesterday there was something that popped up on the news. A total of 90 people were pulled out of a house in Houston. It turns out they were probably smuggled in from through Mexico. I'm not really sure if they were actual Mexicans though, but they were smuggled in through the Texas or the South. Is smuggled through the U.S.-Mexican border and then placed into a house here in Texas, in the city Houston. Now, there's a lot of people that might take note of it. It's really flying under the radar right now of everybody. I'm thinking everybody's just exhausted with hearing about immigrants being busted. Somebody like me, however, is not, and I'm hoping there's somebody out there just like me that's watching this, that's, noticing and taking scores, What I mean is that everybody's saying Biden's doing such a bad job that the whole attempt at controlling migrants and all this stuff, the migrant reform, the border structure, all of that has to be shut down. And the only thing that I'm thinking of is, hell no, it can't be shut down. It shouldn't be shut down. We've got people being rescued. We've got smugglers being caught. We've got people being apprehended. And slowly but surely, we're also finding out who exactly is posing as a good guy, claiming to be on the side of America, while doing this garbage of just pocketing money and not providing any services in looking after the migrants that have been rescued, and also looking after making sure that the ones that are making it out of asylum are being taken to people that can take care of them, as opposed to somebody that might exploit them. Somebody that's in it for collecting a debt. It's pathetic, really. It's just pathetic, and but that's what's going on, and that's what's going on under our noses, and that's what's going on slowly but surely. It's being revealed right now. Right now, we're actually finding out who our actual friends and foes really are. And it's just obvious. You got the HHS, which is way out there in the East, trusting organizations like the NACC, National Association of Christian Churches. They're trusting them. Hell, I probably would too if I hadn't known what the mistreatment that they were giving those girls up there in Houston. Having boxes for petitions, stacking cardboard boxes for partitions and having them sleep on cots and sleeping bags on the hard floor, while pocketing $4 million worth of our tax-paying dollars. I had no clue. Somebody leaked this out, and now we know 3 kids are missing, and it turns out there was one person out of a faculty SWK Australia, which is from Arizona, that made its way down here to Texas, put itself in our humanitarian spots, and gave one kid a sponsor, and started trying to pass off all these other undocumented, lack of information, documents and kids to other sponsors, which hasn't gone through the process, which hasn't gone through the policies and proper documentations, And I've said this before on all the other. I said this on the U.S. is trafficking kids segment, and if you go back, it's further detailed with whistleblowers and cops that are catching them, and reporters that are finding out, and somebody in the organization that's actually revealing the shit stuff. Excuse me. But while this is going on, we've got people getting busted for trafficking. And I remember stating this in the same segment, U.S. trafficking kids. Technically, the U.S. is not trafficking kids. Okay? There's certain people in these organizations that our government, that our American government is trusting, that are transporting, smuggling kids, trafficking them. And that's the, oops, I'm in the wrong lane. That's the BS that I'm trying to stick to keep reminding you with every single one of these videos. Okay, we got a lot of dirty people getting caught. We've got actual criminals getting caught. We've got dirty people and criminals getting caught. You know, and we've got a bunch of false accusations being tossed out around and just conjured up. One time by our own damn governor, by my own state governor, Greg Abbott. He jumped in with the rhetoric bullcrap instead of acknowledging the cool shit cool stuff that's being done. He went ahead and jumped into the rhetoric instead of acknowledging 90 people that got caught just before this weekend. It's now Saturday, May 1st, and the last of April. He's not acknowledging the 2,900 cases, which means it could be one smuggler, it could be half a dozen smugglers that are being apprehended, and while the government is taking care of the kids. Okay? He's not acknowledging that. My own Texas governor is not acknowledging the shit that should make everybody just proud to be Texan, to be American, but more close to home, Texas. You know, he's not acknowledging that. He's not acknowledging the people that just got caught. He's not acknowledging the fact that cops and border patrol and state troopers, Texas state troopers, they are working. They're getting double the captures. Okay, they're getting 2 to 3 a week. Now they're getting 7 to 10 per week. Okay, that's a lot of damn people. That's a big business. We all know this. And now we're finding out just how true that actually is with all these captures. We've got dozens of captures. No, we've got thousands of captures now, just in our state of Texas. If there's ever a time for a Back the Blue movement to start boasting just how cool it is, how great it is to support our law enforcement, I mean, geez Louise. And I'm saying geez Louise because I'm trying to control my cursing. You know, and the one thing that they are lacking to do is stand up and root for our state troopers, to root for our law enforcement, to root for our National Guard if they're participating in it. Texas technically has its own army. We don't really need the U.S. National Guard or Army Reserves. We don't really need to. However, our state governor could ask with Joe Biden for assistance through the reserves, through our National Reserve or the National Guard, to do that same tactics that they do overseas with the nation building, but only here in our nation, where they set up security and you know, and even though it's an encampment, but nevertheless we're keeping them safe while traffickers are getting caught. You know, it's just double the security for, you know, law enforcement who are actually capturing the criminals. And we all know full well that as sure as profits tanked with small businesses, a lot of guys, a lot of farmers, particularly the farming communities, because that's where a lot of illegals, undocumented workers, if not just simple foreigners, that make it here. The farming communities is where they go. It's easy work. Well, not easy work. It's simple work. It's backbreaking, but it's a very simple tasks that they have to perform for good, decent pay. So especially the farming communities, they themselves are just like up in the air. I don't know what to think about this Biden guy. We've already been screwed by Trump and all this other garbage. But it's just so obvious that Biden's not really going to be making it harder for anybody. It's just so obvious that he's going to actually make it simpler for the farmers to take in and possibly get some kind of credit, if not some kind of percentage that doesn't have to be charged on farmers like they normally are. There's a bunch of ways you can go with this. Where he's going right now, I'm not really sure. I just know that he wants to give farm aid to all the farmers and take it from there, which is, his first 100 days, it's not a bad start. That being said, keeping the migrants is going to be self-rewarding just through the employment and the economic profits. Okay? And why they were booted out to begin with is not so much because of racism. Okay, racism is just a tool. Okay, racism is a belief. Okay, don't ever forget that. It was the money. Okay, you had Trump sweeping away with this deportation of all these undocumented workers and migrant workers, and the very first year that happened, there was all this produce and product and cattle and produce mostly that still needed to be profited on. They still needed to be sold, so they were sold in markets and everything. And these farmland owners banked big time. Okay? But now they're suffering because they don't have anybody taking in their doing the work. And they've tried hiring a few Americans, and all Americans bailed. They jumped, they left, they abandoned him. So now they're going to be, it's not that difficult to see that they're going to be looking back to foreigners and migrants again. Unfortunately, right now, all we got are kids. We're going to be watching them saying, these kids need families, these kids need their parents. Just pay attention and watch. And then once those parents come back, guess where they're going? Right back to the farming communities, where the millions and billions of dollars a year for these produce comes back in. Okay, so that's pretty obvious. We're going to be banking big once they're all finally legitimate in here. Okay. For right now, the thing that got me started right now was the focus on the criminals that are getting busted, the migrants that are getting apprehended, the smugglers that are getting put in bars, put in jail, with the exception of ICE. If you remember, there's an ICE, the ICE agency is letting felons go on 2 occasions, one in Del Rio and the other in Austin. Rapists, they were being set free for reasons that they never explained, and that's BS, man. I don't mean to get all riled up again, but as you heard me, if you actually took the time to hear me, U.S. trafficking kids, I think that was the one. It might have been the one before that, where I had a bone to pick with these guys. If ICE could just stop making jackasses out of themselves and actually do their jobs, they would actually be recognized for what my Texas state troopers are being recognized for what my Texas Border Patrol is being recognized for what Texas civil law enforcement, simple city law enforcement is being appraised for. They're all getting these commandments, they're being recognized, rather. I can't say they're being commended yet. The politicians from the president all the way down to my own worthless governor, Greg Abbott, doesn't acknowledge them. is not acknowledging them. We are, but they are not. And everybody who's chosen a side, back the blue, Antifa, BLM, nobody's acknowledging the rescued lives that are being taken, the rescued lives that are being saved from smugglers and traffickers. None of them. It's just us. It's just us. So I made it home right now. I've got some food I gotta bring in, and I'm gonna be throwing out another comment either tomorrow or Monday, preferably Monday. Hopefully nothing happens to where I'm gonna be throwing a comment out there. But even if it does, so what? So what? I'm not being barred for anything yet. Nobody's really challenging me and saying anything. Okay, nobody's really challenging me in anything that I say. And I've got, I'm good. I'm good. I'm throwing all the comments out there between those two extremists. This is wrong, this is right, this is BS, this is BS. You're not following us. This is what's destroying our country. You're the reason for it. This is what's going on. If you can't see our point of view, you're the reason for why the country's being destroyed. Blah, blah, blah. And in between those two douchebag viewpoints, we got you and me. Simple people with simple living, with one particular thing in common: to live happy with as little headaches as possible. All right, this is Chris's comments, signing out. Happy 1st of May. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be throwing a Mother's Day tribute. Y'all take care. This is Chris with Chris's comments, out.